Well, we're back to the Great Western Steam Up at the Nevada State Railroad Museum, Carson City.
Right.
And that was some fun times.
Oh, man, I can't believe it passed so quickly.
There was so much really neat stuff here. Most of it trains, but the group from Willits, California brought in all this logging equipment.
Yes, that's cool.
They have a museum there called the Roots of Motive Power Museum in Willits. Sister-in-law is from Willits.
Isn't that neat?
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Anyway, Willits, there's a railroad, the California Western, that connects Willits to Fort Bragg.
Right.
And a lot of people know that better as the Skunk Railroad. The Skunk. Anyway, at the Willits end of this, these guys have this great museum. I went by there once and it was closed, so I looked over the fence.
There you go.
Anyway, one of the really cool things that they brought in is their Heisler locomotive.
Oh, no kidding.
They have several really neat locomotives there, but they transported the Heisler in here just for this show. And oh my gosh, look at that thing.
That is just neat.
Heislers are so cool. They're one of the types of geared locomotives that were made, usually used in logging, but this particular one was used in mining. So a geared locomotive is a little different than a rod engine in that it has an engine, almost like in a car or a truck.
Oh, look at that.
And then a drive line. Look at this one. It's got a logging winch mounted on the front of it.
Oh, it sure does.
That's one of the things I love about logging equipment is it's just knobby looking.
It is.
And one of the reasons it's kind of knobby looking is because the cylinders are functioning more as like a car engine. This is the Bachmann version.
Oh.
It's that same exact locomotive. But this Bachmann Spectrum model, and we did a review of this on the channel on a Tuesday show, and here's a link to that. But you can see it's that exact same locomotive, but we can kind of look at this to get a sense of some of the interesting features of a Heisler locomotive. There were 3 different types of geared locomotives: Shays, Heislers, and Climaxes. And the idea was the same, that they had cylinders that weren't connected to drive rods, but were rather running some sort of drive shaft that fed the power to the wheel trucks. Now, there's something really interesting here. The boiler on this thing has a very unique shape to it. And the reason for that is that the main steam line from the throttle inside the steam dome is exposed right here.
Oh my gosh.
Normally that runs right down through the boiler, and instead on one of these it's on the outside. And what that means is the boiler can have that tremendous taper to it because the steam line doesn't run through the boiler. And then the exhaust pipe comes down here to the crosshead, also exposed. So that just means the boiler can have this really fun shape to it.
No kidding.
And that's part of the really knobby look on geared locomotives, is because a lot of what normally would be inside the boiler is outside the boiler.
Wow. That's really interesting.
It's just really fun.
That is one interesting looking stack. It looks like it belongs in the Wizard of Oz or something.
Yeah, we're on top of a cartoon character's head.
Right.
Here's the business part of the locomotive. This is the engine, the motor that's down here, and it looks suspiciously like a V-twin engine out of like a motorcycle.
It does.
And Bachmann's done a great job of reproducing it. There's the real thing right there.
Look at that.
Now, there's something about this that isn't completely obvious. Where it looks a lot like a V-twin off of a motorcycle, one of the things that makes this really unique is most engines are 4-cycle.
Right.
Some are 2-cycle.
Right.
A steam engine is a 1-cycle.
Oh.
So there's a power stroke as the piston goes up, there's a power stroke as the piston comes down, and that applies to both of these cylinders. So it has the exact same number of power strokes as a V8.
Wow.
So it's no wonder they're so darn powerful.
Right.
That and the fact that because the motor is mounted at the center of the locomotive and then a drive shaft runs off to the wheels, then that means the wheels are being driven through a gearbox and there's a gear reduction, which makes this thing incredibly powerful, although rather slow.
Is that why the wheels are all the same size?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, this was sure a fun adventure.
That was.
Oh, man, all these different locomotives and a chance to see this many operating locomotives and a few non-operating and catch up with some friends. There's Earl Noob.
Right.
And he travels around with this guy, Dan Markoff from Nevada, who owns the Eureka and Palisade number 4. And then there's Ed Dickens, the head of the UP STEAM program.
Right.
You know, the funnest time we had was just sitting around BSing with these guys and eating nachos.
Right. Yeah, totally spontaneous.
Well, you know, the people are what make it fun.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, these locomotives are really neat. Speaking of really neat, this is Dan's engine.
It is.
Eureka and Palisade number 4, and there's Dan at the throttle.
Right, and that's my favorite train.
He usually has Earl Noob at the throttle, but for the first 3 laps around, just to test things, he wanted to run it himself. You know, they only ran that around 5 times.
Oh, really?
I was so sad after all that, and they put it out on the track once, and Dan made 3 laps, and Earl made 2, and then they were done. And it just broke my heart.
It did.
I wanted to see a lot more of this engine out there on the track.
Me too, 'cause it's cute.
No idea why that happened. Now this is kind of silly and stupid. I put a $5 gold piece on the track because I wanted Dan's engine to run over it.
I see.
And somebody ran over and said, "You can't put coins on the track." And then they looked down and they said, "That's a gold piece." Well, in 1869, people put $5 gold pieces on the tracks at Promontory to let the Union Pacific 119 run over them.
Oh.
And I wanted to duplicate that. Anyway, people said, "Why are you putting a gold piece on there?" And anyway, you're not allowed to put coins on the track.
There you go. Yeah, he was over there pretty fast.
He was over there very fast to stop us from doing that. Anyway, it was just so fun to see these early locomotives and the later locomotives and the logging equipment and just the fun and wonderful things that they had here at the Steam Up. I hope they do it again.
I hope they do too, because it was over too fast.
It was over too fast. There's just so much to do and so much to see in that area too.
Oh yes.
And just a grand time, a grand adventure, and a grand day out.
Right.
Well, this was most certainly a great adventure.
Yes, it was.
But you know, we're always off on great adventures.
Exactly.
And even just staying home and working on models is a great adventure.
Oh, sometimes it is. We had one yesterday. We won't go there, but we had one yesterday.
The wind blew our project away. But that's another story for another day. But
yes.
You want to hear all these stories, and that means that you want to subscribe to the channel, or if you really want to support the channel, join the channel as a member. And you can do all of that by clicking on the upcoming blue button just about now. The blue button.
There it is.
Well, we're not sure how you found the channel on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday, because we got some more of that foolishness to do. Bye-bye.
Bye.